Mr. Cooper, are you doing that for me? I can read them out, the ones who are here if you want. So you get 9. And then Councilmember Allen is somewhere. All right, we've got 9 present, and then Councilmember Allen is outside the chamber right now. That'll make 10. And then, Mr. Cooper, my agenda that I got doesn't have the motion on it. Can you read what that motion is so somebody can make it?
The motion is pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16 regarding electronic meetings. As extended by Executive Order number 34, I make a motion that this committee meeting agenda constitutes essential business of the Metro Council and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak.
Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll proceed electronically. All right, the first item up is second substitute bill BL 2019-48, Rosenberg, Young, and others, amends the Metro Code relative to home occupation. And I know Mr. Rosenberg isn't, well, can I have a motion just to get it before us? Great. And then even though Mr. Rosenberg's not a member of the committee, can you describe where we're at, Councilman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Glad to. So this bill does a number of things. First of all, as substituted, there's an amendment, but first of all, the current version we've got reduces the enforcement burden on codes by allowing them to focus only on the bad actors instead of the personal grudge complaints against invisible home businesses. It tightens up the current regulations that home businesses have. It tightens them up on noise, on commercial deliveries, on uses, and on requirements to preserve the residential nature of the property. It adds requirements that don't currently exist, that comply with HOA bylaws, condominium covenants, and the like. It allows a limited number of clients to visit the home by appointment only during specific hours. It adds a series of protections to prevent any person or entity from operating more than one business out of a home in Davidson County. And it adds to the current regs the ways in which enforcement can take place by permitting photographic and video evidence. The amendment will do a few things. First of all, it specifically enumerates the uses that are allowed to have clients come visit. It was previously listed elsewhere in code, but this brings those definitions into this section and makes them a little bit more specific and a little bit more limited. It also adds some non-allowed uses that apply under whether you have clients or not. That includes auto repair and scrap yards. And it also adds a series of protections to I actually mentioned this before, to prevent any person or entity from operating more than one business out of a home in Davidson County. And that's about the size of it. I appreciate your support.
All right, I came in halfway through the conversation with the planning committee, and there was a thing I heard that I wasn't sure about, and just to clarify. I heard you say that in order to get a permit for this, it has to be a home owned by an individual. Is that right?
That's correct. Individual, a couple, a trust, but not an LLC.
And then I heard council members say that it could only be sole proprietorships run out of the home, and that struck me as not necessarily accurate. Could it be that somebody could run an LLC out of the home as long as the home is owned the way you described?
Yes, my personal sole proprietorships have operated as an S corp or an LLC, and that would be permitted.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to, I heard what I thought was a little bit of confusion there. So you've got amendments that you're asking a committee member to move?
Yes, please.
Somebody want to move that? All right, it's been moved and seconded. I'm looking for any discussion on the amendment to the second substitute. I see one hand up, Councilmember Porterfield. That might still be up from roll call. Councilmember Porterfield?
My apologies, Chair. It was from roll call.
All right, thank you. All right, seeing nobody in the queue to talk about the motion to approve the amendment to the second substitute, all in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed? Any opposed? Hearing none, we recommend approval of the amendment to the second substitute. And then there's also another amendment to the second substitute from Councilmember Druffel and a third substitute from Councilmember Johnston. And what I think I heard in the last committee hearing was that those council members are gonna work with Councilmember Rosenberg for third reading. So, Mr. Cooper, what do we do about these amendments and substitute?
I think you could just move, the two prior committees move to approve on second and re-refer to committee on third to consider the combination substitute or amendment.
All right. Let me ask Councilmember Druffel and Councilmember Johnston whether that's okay with you.
That's correct. I've talked to the sponsor, and we're going to work
All right. Thanks, Councilman Druffel.
together.
Councilmember Johnson, same with you? I'll take that as a yes. All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve the second substitute as amended with the re-referral to committee.
So moved.
So moved.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we recommend approval of the second substitute as amended with a re-referral to the committee.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman Rosenberg. Next is Resolution RS 2020-353, requests recipients of economic development incentive grants from the Metro government to forego such grants in fiscal year 2020 and 2021. That's Swara, Gamble, and others. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion about this?
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I would like to withdraw the resolution with a brief explanation.
Withdraw the resolution with a brief explanation. Go ahead.
Thank you. I, like everyone, looking for money everywhere to be able to support some of our community programs, the schools. The Nashville grad was a big one for me, same with the Education Commission. That was where the idea to look into the EC payment came in. What did not happen, though, was that I did not, I went on the assumption that these companies give up 50%, that we should just ask them to give up the rest of the, to make it 100% for them to forgo it. I was told by Director Cooper that is not binding, it's a non-binding resolution, we're just asking them. And so that was the basis for filing it. Subsequent to filing the resolution, I've had conversations with some of the companies, and I'll use HC as an example. This was, for them particularly, was about the creation of jobs. They've been able to do that around the city and county. They've also been able to donate to some of the causes that we were talking about. They helped with the Nashville grad before. And so they felt this is like stronghold or strong arm or whatever the saying is for us to try to force them to do something that they normally would do. Or so the agreement is that if we're going to look at economic incentive, especially the one that has to do with jobs, we have to look at it to make sure that if we're recalling it it's not leading to loss of job, one. And I also think that we want to look at it in terms of whether they're bad players. For the ones that are doing what they're supposed to do, we do not want to make a blanket assumption and a blanket resolution impacting everybody. I think it has to be done on a case-by-case basis, which is what I'm committed to. So based on that, it's a good idea. It's something to look at later if we need to. But I think that we don't want to mess up agreement that we already had. We don't want to lead to loss of job in some cases. It was just not a good thing to do. And so with that, I want to thank everybody that co-sponsors for it. It just needs some more conversation between us and the companies, and for us to also look at performance and some other things before we do something like that. With that, I renew my motion to withdraw the resolution.
Mr. Cooper, with it being withdrawn, do we need to take a vote? No. All right, so it's withdrawn. We don't need to take a vote. Next item, thank you, Councilmember Suara. BL 2020-299 Glover amends the Metro Code to increase the amount of the annual commercial vehicle regulatory license and the motor vehicle regulatory license. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded. I do want to ask Mr. Cooper, last I heard, I wasn't sure what was required in terms of voting for this evening. What is the voting requirement on this?
So I talked to Metro Legal this afternoon, and although this fee was implemented in 1970, which was before the 1976 wheel tax, over the past 20 plus years, it has functioned as a tax and not as a fee. The ordinance specifies for the fee that it's supposed to be used for specific things, and we have just been putting the money in the general fund. So from that standpoint, certainly the safest approach is to get 27 votes as required by state law on both second and third reading.
So that doesn't impact the committee vote? That's still majority?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Any discussion about this bill? Councilman, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so used to only looking at the phone. I got one on electronically and then Councilmember Allen. So Councilmember Roten, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I was just asked the sponsor, is this part of his budget that he will be submitting for the council? I read that this was part of his whole package, and I was just wondering if he could respond to that.
Councilman Glover? Councilmember Glover? We may be having tech issues on WebEx. He's shown as not as unmuted. Councilman Glover?
Chair, I'll just real quickly, I'm just going to abstain on this for now until I see his budget, and he can fill me in on whether or not it's part of the whole package, and I can look at it as one big item tonight, and he can let me know tonight on the floor if that's what that is. So thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman. I'm gonna be a no because it's such a regressive tax. But let me keep trying with Councilman Glover here. Councilman Glover?
Thanks.
All right. I don't know whether IT can work with Councilmember Glover. I'm gonna, for now, move to Councilmember Allen in the chamber. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two questions. One, if this is a fee, was a fee study done? Because my understanding is we have to justify what we charge for fees based on what it actually costs us to administer something. And if Mr. Cooper can again explain the difference between a tax and a fee and how the funds from those are either designated or not designated, and which this is. So it's three questions. That would be helpful.
Okay, I'll go in reverse order. So when this was originally created in 1970, it was a fee, and it was for specific things like road striping and some other things that were in the initial ordinance. Over the years, it has morphed functionally into a tax, which means the revenue is collected and it goes into the general fund like all other tax revenue, and the funds have not been designated or allocated for any specific item. So under the wheel tax statute, you have to pass the bill on 2 consecutive readings with a 2/3 vote. And so that would be my suggestion for this bill to ensure that it's not subject to any legal challenge after being enacted.
Did that get all your questions?
The one question about a study, so is this something that requires a study to be done or not, since it, and when you say morphed into a tax, did that happen officially or just sort of unofficially? And how can we do
I
that?
think it just happened functionally. I mean, for the 19 years I've been working with the wheel tax, well, the regulatory license fee, it has been treated like a tax. So for many, many years, it has functioned as a tax. So there was no fee study because it was last increased in 2005, and that was also part of a substitute budget scenario.
And when you say treated like a tax, you're talking about the revenue has just gone into the general fund generally?
Yes, sir.
I would, Rosie, is there any chance you could try to get a hold of Councilman Glover and see? And,
I think I may be here now.
thank you, sir. I thought if I filibustered long enough, we would get you squared away. Would you like to comment, sir?
Well, I thought I was working because I called in and, I checked in, but anyway, that's okay. All right. So I'm sorry. I had to move from the microphone on the computer and then call in, and so I may have missed some of that. So here is the thing. First of all, I regret not being there yesterday. I got started on some pretty strong antibiotics for something, and I just was not feeling well yesterday. So I'm sorry I missed that. I've turned in the substitute. We keep going back and forth on some things. My translation versus the other. All I'm simply asking to do today is if we would pass it, I'm going to re-refer it back into Budget and Finance, and if people don't want to support it, then they wouldn't have to. And in fact, if it's not going to work in the overall budget, in my substitute budget, I won't even move it forward on third. So all I'm wanting to do today is keep it on the agenda in order for us to look at the substitute, and I'll share that with everybody as quickly as I can. And so that's why I want to re-refer it back to Budget and Finance Committee for third.
All right, and just because you were switching devices, I just want to make sure you heard one part of the conversation and just make sure you have an opportunity to comment if you have a comment. Mr. Cooper described his conversations with Metro Legal today and the conclusion that this, not in committee, but on the floor this evening and on third reading would require 27 votes. And I just want to give you a chance to comment on that if you want to.
Well, and I learned of that for the very first time this morning, even though it's been in the works for quite a while, and it's always been a part of my plan. So that's why I'm also asking if we would just pass it tonight, and because obviously it's not enacted until the third reading, and if people don't feel comfortable with it at that point, that's fine. But I would hate to have it withdrawn before getting it in and to where everyone can see the substitute that I'll be presenting. So with that, I would simply ask that we pass it on second, and I'll bring it back and re-refer it to the committee and obviously council, because it's all coming back anyway. But re-refer it back to the council, or excuse me, the committee on third, and then for the blending.
All right, so there's a motion to pass it on second and re-refer to committee. Is there a second for that? All right, there's a second for that. I know it's going to be a split vote, so we're going to use WebEx hands to do it. And we're going to do all three, yes, no, and abstain. And nobody else is in the queue. So all in favor of passing this on second and re-referring to committee, raise your WebEx hand or your live hand. You have to be in the committee to raise your hand. There's 2 in the chamber. All right. No vote. Everybody take your hands down. All the hands are down. Everybody voting no, raise your hand. I'm a no. There's another no in the chamber. They're not all committee members, though, so we have to make sure they're committee members. You only get to raise your hand if you're a committee member, folks.
How many in the chamber? 2?
2.
So that's a total of 3, 8 to 3.
Yep. And then abstentions, raise your hand now. I know we've got Roten. That should be the only one, right?
Yes.
All right. So that the committee recommends approval with the re-referral to the committee. What was that? 6 to
8 to 3 to 1, but
8 to 3 to 1. That doesn't match up with our roll call.
with the roll call, but I think we have some others that have joined.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna do roll for the committee again. Everybody who's online, raise your hand, please. You got everybody?
And we have everyone present except for Vercher.
She's got her hand up online.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have all 12.
And that's 12 votes. So we're,
That's 8 to 3 to 1.
all right. Recommend approval of the re-referral, 8 in favor, 3 against, 1 abstention. And I think that's it for the committee meeting, right, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, until we have the joint meeting.
All right, next we're going to start the joint meeting of Planning and Budget and Finance on the capital improvements budget, and Councilmember Murphy is going to lead that meeting from the front here. When it comes to the vote for the committee, Budget and Finance Committee, I'll take care of that, but Budget and Finance is now over.